Hello, I'm Simon Rogerson. I am Professor Emeritus in Computer Ethics at De Montfort University in the UK. I was the founding director of the Centre for Computing and Social Responsibility. 25 years ago, in 1995, I created the Ethicomp conference series and co-directed it with Professor Terry Bynum until 2013, when the Ethicomp community came of age. This Ethicomp heralds a paradigm shift which, in many ways, my paper reflects. I suggest that current approaches to ICT ethics education are ineffective for a world which is increasingly technologically dependent. The recent pandemic has demonstrated how deep-seated this dependency is. People now view this dependency as the status quo. We need a new pathway for ICT ethics education which embraces people of all ages and of all walks of life. Putting the digital divide aside for a moment, computing is no longer the sole domain of professionals, educated and trained through traditional routes to service public and private sector organisations under paid contracts. Computing is now by everyone, for everyone, with the advent of economically accessible hardware, a multitude of software tools, and the internet. The data suggests that professional bodies, in their current role, have a little influence on 97% of global software developers whose ethical code and attitude to social responsibility comes from somewhere else. ACM's flagship publication, The Communications of the ACM, ran as its cover story in the August 2019 edition, Embedded Ethics, Integrating Ethics Across the CS Education. The paper is about Harvard reinventing the wheel of computer ethics education, which has a long and comprehensive history stretching back to the 1980s. It offers little new insight, does not link to a 40-year history and experience, nor does it appear to connect with ACM's Integrity Project, which attempts to refresh ICT ethics education for future generations of computer scientists. Traditional approaches of professional bodies seem ineffective for a technologically dependent world. Progress occurs when a revolution takes place after a dormant normal period and the community moves ahead to a paradigm shift. Given the ongoing frequent occurrence of ICT disasters, it seems ICT ethics education in its current dormant phase is in need of revolution. Indeed, ICT ethics education needs to be rebooted. There needs to be a radical change in how the ethical and social responsibility dimension of ICT is included in education of the whole population, rather than focusing on the elitist computing profession community. My paper explores 4 avenues for widening formal and informal education of all those who may be involved in computing, albeit directly or indirectly, or as creators or consumers. These avenues are science and technology museums, thought experiments, learning from history, and poetry. There needs to be an overarching framework to provide necessary scaffolding for a paradigm shift to take place. The problem with STEM is that it sustains the principle that there are 2 separate fundamental cultures, the scientific and the humanistic. This can restrict reflection and innovation. STEAM, which was conceived by Georgette Yackman in 2006, brings these 2 cultures together. It has the potential of opening minds through differing viewpoints in an inclusive education programme. Single discipline silos are augmented by a blended approach which better reflects reality. I have been involved in ICT ethics education since 1994. This experience has led me to conclude that for an ICT ethics education programme to succeed in making a difference, there has to be a persistent high visibility of such a programme and the associated content. Ethics and responsibility are the key words. If STEAM is to be used, it should be done so in an explicit ethics and responsibility landscape. Therefore, to ensure ongoing visibility, it could become STEAM ER, which would provide the fuel, impetus and environment to ensure that actions and outcomes in the technological world are more likely to be societally positive rather than societally negative. STEAMer offers a new approach to ICT ethics education which embraces a spectrum of disciplines in an integrated fashion that would herald the rebirth of ICT ethics education and awareness. And so, it is time to start a revolution in your head which will culminate in ethical computing by everyone, for everyone. Thank you for listening.